Welcome to the Bitchy Hour. Audacity required, people pleasing not permitted. Now breathe deep and press play on your power. Let's get into this. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Bitchy Hour. Today I have a lot on my mind because, in all honesty, I always have a lot on my mind. Like, I'm constantly thinking, probably overthinking, but you know what? It is what it is. What am I going to do about it? Oh, wait, nothing. I might as well accept it. And I might as well be honest with myself that I need to, at times, not think and just sit in the backyard and look at the trees. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I am inside and looking at the trees, looking into the backyard. And it's so nice because I think we all have a tendency to really get so caught up on what we see as the problems of our lives. And because we're so focused on them, they seem like the biggest things in the world, okay? We make mountains out of things that were only really supposed to be molehills. And I'm learning that just because that has been a pattern of mine for so long does not mean that it should be a pattern that continues, does not mean that I should align with it whatsoever. That can completely just be something that I used to do that no longer aligns with me. And that is the case for you as well. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, Sidni, why is it that I'm always overthinking? Why is it that this type of problem always seems to persist in my life? Maybe you should let go of that problem. Maybe you should let go of the identity that you've been holding on to that says that you are the type of person who has those types of problems. And this is a huge thing because I think our egos truthfully do not want us to go outside of the realm of what it knows us to be, even if it would be advantageous for us to move that way, for us to no longer align with that identity. And as I'm going through this transition season of mine, a major lesson has been let the fuck go, babe. Like, let it go, let it flow. And I think even many of these episodes have kind of felt like I've been talking a lot about letting go, but that's literally the wave that I'm on right now, because if what I've been used to, what you've been used to has been hanging on for dear life and it hasn't been working, maybe the thing that you need to do is the complete opposite, which is let go and trust that everything is working out in a way that you literally can't see. Because if you could see it, you would be in control of it. It's only when you surrender, it's only when you allow yourself to literally be open to the realm of possibilities that things can occur and come about in a much greater way than anything that you could possibly imagine. You know what I mean? So now that I've kind of gotten that out of the way, right? There is so much power in being honest about where you're at in your life right now and not shying away from the fact that maybe you don't feel like you're exactly where you need to be. Maybe you wish you could be doing something else on a daily basis. Maybe you wish that you had more money in your bank account. But I think if you're looking at all those things that you dislike in your life from the perspective of woe is me, as opposed to, wow, this is giving me a really great place from which to launch, because now I know it could only get better from here, right? And there was actually a quote that I heard the other day that really stuck with me. And it was that things could only get better from here. Okay. So like wherever you're at in your life, you're at a certain level of consciousness. Okay. So things can literally only get better. You can only expand your level of consciousness. You can't shrink it. Once you become consciously aware of a certain lifestyle, of a certain way of being, you can literally only go up from there. So there's no point in looking at your life and being like, oh my gosh, like, what if this horrible thing happens? What if? Like, if you recognize the fact that things can really only get better from here, then there's really nothing to be concerned about. And this has been something that I have really been reflecting on And I've really been reminding myself of as well, because again, I think it's so easy to get in these negative thought loops and to really believe that, wow, like things are so bad, like I wish they were better. But it's like, if you're looking at your life and you're focusing on what you don't like, of course it's going to feel like everything is bad because that's what you're focused on. Conversely, you could focus on the things that you really love, and those things will start to expand in your life. I love this saying, what you focus on is what expands, because it's literally true. If you focus on the things that you're grateful for, your life will expand to show you more things to be grateful for. Versus if you focus on what you dislike in your life, you're going to look around and always be critical, always be in this negative mindset over everything going on, because that's what you're focused on. And I had a moment the other day where I was starting to feel bad, right? Like I was starting to feel like I was going down this path of feeling sorry for myself. And I had to stop myself. And I was like, where is this really coming from? What is this trying to teach me? And why is it that I'm feeling these feelings right now in this moment? And what I came to is that a lot of times when I don't feel like I'm in control of what's going on in my life, meaning I can't control exactly what is going on in my 3D reality at that moment, I start to think of the worst possible scenarios and I harbor on them, and it starts to make me feel bad. But I only feel bad because I know I'm ultimately choosing to think these thoughts when I don't have to. That's when I'm like, oh my gosh, like, damn, like I want to die, or I just want to like crawl into a ball. Like nothing ever where it's like I'm at risk to myself, but it's more so of just like feeling bad for yourself, feeling like you're apathetic to life, like life is hopeless. And those are all feelings that are ultimately going to manifest a situation that you likely won't want. So I think in those moments is when you have to think of something that you're really grateful for and really just sit in that energy and recognize that when you're thinking about that, you feel good. When you're not thinking about things that you don't like, you feel bad. And the fact that you can switch your feeling like that just by switching your thoughts and not aligning with the thoughts that are not contributing anything that's good, I think that can really inspire so much confidence in you and in the fact that like you really are in control of your life. And as much as I feel like things are out of my control, I do recognize that there's so much that I am doing on a daily basis that is contributing to the future that I know that I'm actively creating. And I also recognize that there is a lag period between when that dream life manifests and the journey to get there. And as long as you really love the journey and you're not in it for superficial reasons, and I guess even if you are in it for superficial reasons, as long as you keep going and you don't give up and you don't see these little things, these little inconveniences as major roadblocks that are telling you to actually abort the mission completely and go a different way, you will get exactly what you desire, because you're not seeing it as this thing that's stopping you from living your life. You're just seeing it as part of the process. And just think about it, right? Whenever we watch a movie, whether it's something like Star Wars or Twilight or any movie, right? We love seeing the hero's journey. We love seeing the hero go through different things, and those things not getting to them and not allowing them to stop mid-track and say, actually, fuck this, let me go do something else. No, they keep going. And that's what we're supposed to do. Like, we're in our own movies and we are on our own hero's journey. And if you think of yourself in that way, then I think it's easier to kind of detach from the quote unquote problems that come up in your life. But because then you see that it's actually helping you to develop character and to see the power that you truly hold when it comes to you creating your life, okay? Like, it's pretty magical when you can view yourself in that light And it's a bit meta in the sense that you kind of have to observe yourself as opposed to heavily identifying with whatever is going on in that moment. Because if we're really being honest here, right? If we were to be watching the movie of our life, we don't want to know everything that's about to happen next. Because whenever you can very much predict everything that's going to happen in a movie, that movie becomes so fucking boring. Like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. No one wants a super fucking predictable movie, babe. Like, nobody wants that, okay? We all want the shock, the awe, the oh my gosh, at the 11th hour, things just all came together. And the only way to get there is to literally, like, become the type of person who surrenders to the journey and trusts that everything is coming together for your good, even though you don't know how yet. And like, really just think about the outcome that you'd ideally like to have. And maybe the outcome is going to be not even as good as it's truly going to be. But if you can formulate some sort of idea of what you'd like your desired reality to be, and you just say, you know what, even though I'm in this part of the movie where I'm broke and I'm living at my parents' house and I don't really have consistent income and I'm trying to figure all this out, there is a part of the story where I look back on this moment right now and I'm like, wow, those are one of the moments that made me. The fact that I kept going and I didn't allow that to stop me is the reason why I can sustain this level of success now, because I was there for the process. I wasn't trying to skip. I wasn't trying to just poof my way into what I really wanted, because I was there for the character development. Because in all honesty, you need the character development in order for you to, one, sustain whatever level that you're attempting to get to and will get to, and two, to ensure that you're built for it. Because if you just hop, skip, and jump, and now you are famous with 10 million followers, well, you are going to handle that in a very different way versus if you've been going on the journey, it's built over time, you've gotten used to what it's like to be known over time, you'll be able to sustain that. You'll be able to mentally handle that. And I think that is more so important than anything else, because I just know in my own life, right? When I was younger, I was so fucking naive. Like, I was so naive. I thought everybody was my friend. I thought everybody had the best intentions for me. And while that's wonderful and amazing and love that for you, let's be honest, okay? People are fickle. People are fickle. People get jealous very easily because if they see something within you that they have in themselves, but for whatever reason they don't believe they have access to, they're going to project envy. They're going to project negativity. They're going to project these things onto you and want to stop you in your tracks. And they're going to do anything they can in their power to get you to try and believe that you're not that girl, you're not that guy. And ultimately, right, like we've kind of been talking about it, everything is you pushed out. So it's almost like you set up these quote unquote traps along your path to basically prove you to you. Like, that's how you kind of have to look at it. And that's really how I've been looking at a lot of these different things that have happened in my life, as I'm proving me to me, okay? I have been going through all these things for me to show myself that I am actually that girl, okay? I am that girl, and you are that girl. You are that guy. But if you haven't been put through the fire, if you haven't been put through the ringer to actually see what your potential is, how can you actually trust that you're that girl or that guy? You literally can't, okay? And that's why it's so important that you go through the process, that you refine who you are, build character, so that you can actually step into whatever it is that God has for you. Because I just truly believe that whatever is meant for you is meant for you, and no one can take that away from you. And it's so interesting because sometimes I'll see these people on TikTok talk about like, oh, the destiny swappers, they're trying to take your destiny. And I just rebuke that wholeheartedly because I'm like, no one can take my destiny from me. No one can take your destiny from you. Whatever is meant for you is meant for you, period. Like literally. And if you're believing that someone can destiny swap, if you're believing that evil eye can affect you, if you're believing that people are putting hexes on you and voodoo curses, like that's literally the reality that you're going to experience. Versus if you're like, I don't really believe that. My belief system says that I'm always protected. My belief system that says that whatever's meant for me will be. I don't have to be super extra cautious and be looking over my shoulder and doing all this. The only thing that I have to do is just be aware in every moment of how I'm feeling within my own body, what it's like when I'm in certain environments, and just ask, is me being in this environment, is me hanging out with these people, is this in alignment with me or not? And if it's not in alignment with you, leave. Like that's the biggest hack I would say. Literally pay attention to your body, pay attention to your gut. And if something doesn't feel right, fucking leave, bro. Because I promise you, you will never be mad at yourself for acting on a gut impulse to leave somewhere or to do something, because you don't know what it saved you from. And like, this has happened to me so many times. And I remember there was this one time this happened to me, and like, I had thought this guy was like really cute, whatever. And in my gut, I was feeling like I shouldn't hang out with him any longer. So I didn't. But like, for so long after, I was thinking in my head, like, oh my gosh, like maybe I should have went, maybe I should have done this. But it's like, if in my gut, it was telling me not to do it, that was for a reason. Sure, I can hyper fixate on, oh, I should have went, like I should have seen what was happening. But it's like, if your gut says don't do something, you don't know the reason why. And in all honesty, I feel like you don't want to figure out the reason why, okay? You're better off literally just moving on, letting it go, and trusting that whoever's meant to be in your life will be in your life. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to do anything, because they will be in alignment with who you are. Period. End of story. All right? It's just the truth. So, yeah, I kind of went on a tangent there, but I think when it comes to just really figuring out where you're going in life and all that, right? I think in a lot of ways that is an illusion, because you can't really figure anything out. And this has been top of mind since like yesterday or the day before, because I saw this post where essentially, or actually no, it wasn't a post that I saw. Someone had commented on a video of mine and they were like, do what makes your heart sing. And I was really thinking about this, because I was like, do what makes your heart sing. What makes my heart sing? What makes my heart sing? And for the longest time, I've been equating what makes my heart sing with a specific career path. But I've come to the realization that it's not about a career path specifically. It's more so about a way of being, okay? It's me embodying the faith that the universe always has my back in whatever it is that I'm doing. And I think this is a cool way to live, in the sense that you're not going to be attached to you being an influencer, or you being a chef, or you being a lawyer or a doctor or an investment banker or a startup founder. It's not wholly reliant upon an identity that the ego can cling to as a means to be like, all right, we did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. No, okay? It's not that whatsoever. It's about you feeling content in every moment, because you are in this state of being that is completely yourself, right? Like, you're completely in alignment, and whatever you're doing at that moment is the right thing for you to be doing. And this feels really good, because I think there's a lot of interests that I have, whether it's making music every so often, making videos on TikTok and YouTube like all the time, talking on this podcast, you know, teaching bar to people. I'm also interested in Soul Cycle and getting more into that. Like, there's just so many different facets of my personality that I think can't be buttoned up into one thing. And I would stress myself out by feeling like I needed it to be one thing, as opposed to allowing myself to be multifaceted and not fitting in a box, because I don't think any person really fits in a box. Like, yeah, sure, you may see that they primarily do one or two things or three or four things, but could you really tie their entire personality up into being that one specific thing? No, I don't think you can. And I think when people try to put you in a box like that, it says more about them and how they move in their lives than anything having to do with you, because people are constantly projecting, right? Like, I think that's one thing that I have recognized over the years, is that nothing is truly personal, right? Like, or I guess everything is truly personal, in the sense that everybody is projecting onto you their thoughts and beliefs. So if someone is mean to you, if someone is rude to you, if someone is doubtful of what you're doing or you're trying to accomplish, it's because that's how they feel about themselves, okay? And if you choose to receive that and internalize that, then that says a lot about how you feel about yourself. Like, literally, there's no point in you getting mad at people. There's no point in you being frustrated with people. Like, you get to decide at the end of the day how you want to feel about yourself, and that's truly it. And when you know that, I think, in all honesty, that is the best case scenario, right? Because then it means that it doesn't matter what anybody has to say to you. Like, the only final boss for you is what you have to say. Like, you're the boss, babe. You are the boss, babe. Okay? And I think that's awesome. I think it's incredible. And I think a lot of times people don't want to be the boss because it comes with a level of accountability that you must have for your own life. Because if you're the boss, but you're not taking accountability, that means that your life, or you, are the reason why your life is not where you want it to be. It's not anybody else's fault. And I think that's why so many people are drawn to being a victim. It's just easier. Point blank, period. It is way easier to blame someone else for your shortcomings versus to take accountability for them and to actually do something about it, you know? But like, I think people think it's easier, but I actually think it's harder. Like, it would suck to be in a situation that you don't like and to just say, oh, well, it's this person's fault. That's why I can't, and that's why I will never be good. And I remember seeing someone leave a comment on one of my TikTok videos, and they're like, you don't understand, unless you had kids, unless you had this, like, I'm literally stuck in this situation. That's how it's going to be forever. And I'm like, okay, damn, like, if that's how you feel, I guess that's how it is. And I think a lot of times people fight taking accountability so much because it really requires an ego death for you to be like, damn, like, I'm really my problem. Like, that sucks, bro. Like, that sucks. I don't want to be my problem. Why can't someone else be my problem? But it's like, dude, if you're your problem, you can also be your solution. Like, that shit is actually incredible. Okay. So I just think that's awesome. And when it comes to like this embodiment of faith and letting go of the need to figure it out, and just kind of trusting that if you're embodying a certain state every single day, like, your dream life is unfolding right now because you're in that state of the person who has already achieved that dream life, right? You may not be able to see the payoff right now, but when you are choosing alignment before you see that payoff, right? Like I was mentioning before, you will feel good. Even if you're in the midst of a storm, if you feel good amidst the storm, that is the proof in the pudding that you choosing alignment is working out, okay? It's true, because the feeling is going to come before whatever manifestation hits your timeline or hits your life, right? And it's really just a testament to the fact that like the only thing that truly matters in this world is faith. If you don't have faith in a better future, like you will never experience it. Ever. You never will, because everything is created from the mind. And what I've been doing more lately, speaking of this, is I have been taking the time to really sit in nature, look into the trees and zone out and just allow things to come to mind and kind of just really letting those thoughts kind of pass and not attaching to them too much. Because I think in a lot of ways, we don't allow ourselves to fully close the loops on thought patterns that we have. And I saw this video where this person was talking about how when you don't allow those loops to close, then essentially you end up manifesting these things that you don't necessarily understand why, but it's because they're thoughts that have been lingering in your head that have not fully closed out because you're constantly distracting yourself with the next video, with the next song, with people, with scrolling on social media, with going out and drinking, with literally anything. It could be absolutely anything. If you're not allowing yourself to fully be present with your thoughts and to allow those thoughts to pass, you end up holding on to that energy and it manifests in your life. So even if you don't want it to, it's like it needed to get its rocks off in a sense because it's in your mind, it's lodged in your brain and you won't allow it to get out. So it finds no other option than to sometimes create havoc in your life. But you also have to recognize that everything is ultimately working for your good, okay? Like everything. So even if you don't understand it right now, at some point in the future, it's all going to make sense. Like it literally is. I remember when I was first starting to create content back in 2020, and I had this video that went like pretty viral. It had over 300,000 views, but the only issue was that it was a video that kind of pigeonholed me into making content about politics. And while I felt strongly about that at the moment, it was clear to me that politics was not the be all end all for me. It was just something that was really pertinent in the world and top of my mind. So that's why I was talking about it. And I just wanted to share my story about it. So when I felt like, okay, I was getting podcast interviews and I was also just getting interviewed, being put in the news and this and that, I was curious of like, okay, it felt like all this stuff happened for a burst of time and then it subsided and I felt like I was back where I started and I was trying to figure out like, okay, like why did all this happen and it kind of went nowhere? Like what is going on here? Why didn't this birth a career for me in social media? Like why did my buck stop here? But as I'm sitting here now and I'm reflecting on it, I'm like, because that wasn't truly in alignment with me. It was something that was at a specific point in time, but I'm not super into politics like that. I'm into being the best version of myself, living my life, exploring, learning more. Like that's more my vibe. So had I gone into a career in politics as like a social media influencer within that niche, I know for a fact, like I would have been miserable because I don't care about that. Now, I don't even really watch politics. It's rare if I watch politics. The only time I really watch politics is if something pops up on my TikTok feed or literally that's it. Okay, like literally that's it. Because even my Twitter account, I hardly go on Twitter now. Like I'm so serious. It's really a rare thing for me to go on Twitter, X, whatever. And most of my timeline is about Love Island. So it's not like I'm seeing any sort of politics on there. I also know that at a previous point, I was so hell-bent on becoming a startup founder. And I was like, oh my gosh, why won't this work for me? Why can't I figure out a company to start? Why is me living in San Francisco not working out? Like, why? Like, I just did not understand it at the moment. But looking back on it now, I can see that was never meant for me. I'm not that type of person. I was trying to fit myself somewhere that was not meant for me. And how many of us do that all the time, whether it's with friends, whether it's with partners, whether it's with jobs. Like, we're constantly trying to fit ourselves into places that we were never meant to be. And then we get frustrated and upset when it doesn't work out, not knowing that there's something on the other side of this that is going to bring us so much more joy and fulfillment if we can allow ourselves the space to literally not have it all figured out, to be open to the realm of possibilities of things that will be 10 times, 100 times better than anything that you could ever imagine. Okay? It's just insane. And this is the paradox of being in the becoming and trusting that that's enough. Okay? Like, as you're being yourself, embodying your highest self, right? You're also becoming something that you literally don't understand. Like, you have no idea where you're going, but by being present in your life, by trusting that everything is working together for your good, that is literally all that matters. And that's the point that we all have to get to, because you're not going to know everything. You never will. You literally never will know everything that's meant to happen in your life. You just have to trust that you're on the path that you're on in your life for a reason. And the only thing that you can really do is be okay with that. Literally surrender to it and allow things to unfold the way that they're supposed to. Allow the people, places, and things that are no longer in alignment with you to fall away. Because when you try to cling on to things and you try to control things, that's when everything gets worse. Like, literally everything gets worse when you hold on to shit. Let that shit go, babe. Let it go. Let it go so you can let it flow. All right. So let's move into my TBH rant, which is being seen isn't the same as being understood. All right. And I think a lot of us, we want to be understood. Okay. And I think when you're truly a multifaceted individual who is constantly peeling back your own layers on a day-to-day basis, you don't even understand yourself fully. But that doesn't mean that you can't allow yourself to be seen, allow yourself to be perceived, and to be misunderstood. Because it's, again, not personal. It's personal in the sense that it's your journey and you're personally going through it. But everybody is going to perceive you based on some level how they perceive themselves and how you maybe trigger them or inspire them or whatever to see different aspects of themselves. And as a result of that, you kind of have to be willing to be perceived, to be seen, and understand that people aren't going to understand you, and that's okay, you know? And I think before, I really wanted people to understand me, but I think that's because I wasn't willing to put in the time to understand myself, and I would get frustrated by the fact that it felt like my entire reality was reflecting that back to me, because it was, all right? But yeah, I think in a lot of ways, right, we crave visibility and clarity at once, especially when it comes to the online space. But visibility without inner stability will always feel hollow, okay? Letting go of the pressure to arrive just to be legible to others is ultimately what is going to get you to that place of calm, right? Like, you do not have to be perfect. You do not have to look perfect. You just have to be yourself. Literally. That's the only thing that you can ever be, is yourself. And anytime you feel like you're not good enough, you have to remember that that is in a lot of ways a belief system, and you're probably comparing yourself to other people, and comparison is the thief of joy. There is only one you, and if you remember that, that is your competitive advantage. When you start to step into the realm of trying to be like that other person or trying to do something in a way that seems like society already gets it, you're not adding your own spice. You're not being yourself. So you can't be mad if you're not finding success in the way that the person you're emulating has been, right? Because they were doing something unique to them and that worked for them. You have to do something that is unique to you. And it's so interesting because when I think about this podcast now, I'm like, man, I fucking love doing this. At one point, I was definitely doing a visual podcast, like my last podcast was that. But it just felt like I can't just sit there and talk. And maybe this will be a visual podcast at some point. But for right now, this feels right for me. And instead of trying to chase something and doing what I think would do better or what is commonplace right now, I have to start where I'm at. You have to start where you're at and choose to level up as you go and to allow the path to unfold, because that's the only thing you can do, babe. Let go of that pressure to arrive so that you can be you. That is your biggest competitive advantage. Moving on to hot girl homework. All right. So the prompt is, when in your life or where in your life are you pretending to be certain just to feel safe? You heard that? Where in your life are you pretending to be certain just to feel safe? What would it feel like to be radically honest about the uncertainty and trust that the light is coming anyway? What would it feel like to be radically honest about the uncertainty and trust that the light is coming anyway? So this is the ritual idea that you could potentially go with. Create a proof of faith jar. Each time something serendipitous, validating, or beautifully unexpected happens, even the tiny things, write it down and add it to the jar. Watch your trust compound. And what's really awesome about this practice is you'll get a visual representation of how many times life has just shown up for you that you would neglect had you not had that visual representation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. Know that it is safe to not know yet, because no one really knows, bro. No one really knows. As much as we try to convince ourselves that we know, oh my gosh, this is leading me down the best path ever, this is amazing, whatever, blah, 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 you really fucking don't know. So maybe just let go, trust, and know that as long as you are being and embodying your highest self in every moment, everything is panning out and unfolding exactly as it's meant to be. I love you guys so much, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you again very, 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 very soon. So have a good one. Bye.